let's get started. We are live.
Where does yesterday's future, which is already here, meet today's future, which is about to happen, and tomorrow's future, which could be just minutes away?
I found my old Movado.
Welcome to Technology Revolution, the future of now, where host Bonnie D. Graham asks savvy futurists for their predictions about the tech-driven trends that are shaping our future right now. Here's your host, who will take us into the future of now, Bonnie D. Graham.
Thank you to the voice who gets me on the air. I'm Bonnie D. Happy to be here. I have a well, every show is special every week, you know that, but I have a very, very special group of panelists today. They are the people who have the nerve, the guts, the grit to start something from scratch. They may have worked for other people in the past, but they said one day, I have an idea, I have a mission, I have a goal, I have something I want to do, something I want to give to the world. And they did it. And it's not easy. And we're going to speak with three founders. I'll introduce them to you in a moment. You can see them here. Gentlemen, just wave hello. You can see your names on the screen. Oh, they all wave so well. And we're going to talk about the use of artificial intelligence in their founder journey. Maybe when they started years ago, they didn't use it, but how are they using it now? What are the benefits? What are the opportunities? Remember, this is a show where we talk positives, benefits, opportunities, good stuff. Go anywhere else and bash, trash, and smash AI, but not here. So let me get started, and I'm going to have a special introduction for each of my guests. And gentlemen, when I call your name, I just want you to wave, okay? So here we go. Welcome to Technology Revolution, the future of now. The future of founders in AI starting from scratch? We'll explore how, with Bonnie D on her Scarlett Mic leading the charge. Tim Wolter, wave hello. Mike Maiolo, wave hello. Adam Greenberg, wave hello. They are thinking large. As new companies come and go at the speed of light, too few founders succeed and fly right. Can AI offer agile support timely and strong? What pitfalls should they avoid that might steer them wrong? We'll predict startup strategies for founders to stay sane, right, Tim? And how AI boosts their tomorrow, keeping them resilient in their new lane. So now I'm going to read the intro for Tim. You're up first. Here we go. From Sacramento roots, where patterns first took form, Tim learned truth hides in signals, steady, subtle, not always warm. From schoolyard trials to moments that tested his ground, he built his resolve to never back down. From Oklahoma arenas where wild bulls would throw, Tim learned to face fear, not turn, run, and go. Through construction site grit where real lessons are earned, he saw how systems fail and how risks can be burned. At 40 miles an hour, a drunk driver struck hard and fast, yet Tim rose with new vision, not anchored to the past. From tech COO leadership to ventures redefined, he walked away from comfort to build what he's now designed. With his wife Chelsea, his co-founder, one of my two saucy dames on my other show you may know, Safety View and Deal View reshape how smart systems can grow. Tim's book, The Last Year, tells how founders fight and make it through, a memoir of grit where resilience and vision are made true. Tim, welcome back. How'd you like that?
I love it. You read part of the book.
There you go. There you go.
No, I love it. It was great.
I'll tell Sylvie that Sylvie and I collaborate on these. Mike, you're up next. And I haven't seen Mike in years, and I'm absolutely delighted to have to do a shout out to Sherry Ann Meyer, who was our mutual colleague, our mutual very good friend. And she brought you to me, and she also introduced me to Adam. So we'll get to Adam in a minute. So Mike, from Ridgefield roots where strong values were taught, with discipline, service, and teamwork hard fought, a coach for a father, a nurse by his side, Mike learned that integrity must always guide. From open doors at home where strangers became friends, he saw how true leadership serves and transcends. At Bucknell, where Plato shaped wisdom and sight, Mike chose paths of action to lead and to do right. From paper mill floors to enterprise design, he saw how smart systems could help businesses align. Founding Vesta Partners to Rising, then selling to Wipro in View, Mike built lasting impact through vision made true. His book, We Were Rising, shares his firsthand founder's insight. Now with Kate Maloney by his side, Mike has new chapters to write. Mike, I hope you like that.
Bonnie, that was absolutely fabulous. Loved
I'm
it.
I'm glad. I'm glad. And welcome back. Welcome back. It's been years. So, Adam Greenberg, brand new to me. I'm delighted to have you, and here we go. From a family of service where strong values were grown, Adam carved a path very much his own. The middle of three where contrasts shaped view, he questioned convention and he followed what was true. From leaving at 16 to forge his own way through muscle and music and hustle, he learned day by day, with curiosity leading where classroom learning could not. Adam built his life through action and wisdom hard fought. He chanced into tech when new doors would appear to SAP, rising, and leadership clear. Now CEO at Makeshift, where purpose takes the lead, Adam gives back time for people what they most need. From oceans by kayak to vineyards and travel worldwide, he pairs bold ventures with passions that guide. At his startup, Leaders to Give, where compassion lives, Adam shapes what comes next through the impact he gives. Welcome, Adam. I hope you like that.
That was beautiful. I'm beautiful. Thank you very much.
I'm very glad. And let me finish this with our visionary panel. The future shines bright. AI's reshaping how founders bring ideas to light. From concept to plan, from launch to client stream, AI helps founders stay sane and realize their dream. So lean in, watch, and listen. Sharp insights are on display. Our futurists might inspire you to become a founder one day. So, gentlemen, what'd you think? How'd I do? You happy? Okay.
Nice. Good.
Tim knows I have a collaborateur named Sylvie, and she and I speak in French. And I sent her your origin story bios. And I said, Sylvie, please help me. And within 3 seconds, she turns it into however many lines I tell her. And then we bargain and we tweak and we negotiate back and forth. I didn't like this rhyme. You left this out. We have to say this about Tim. We didn't say this about Mike. We didn't say this. And we go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, one line at a time until Bonnie D is happy. And that's how we create these opening rhymes. And they're not poems, they're just rhymes. So I'm delighted you like them. Tim, I've done several for you, and it's always interesting to redo it from scratch. I sent her a whole new bio. So what I'd like to do now is have each of you add a little bit more about what's most important to you as a founder, a little bit about AI, no lecture, no presentation, just a little more about what you've been up to. Tim, I'm going to put you on speaker view first, and we'd love to take about 3 minutes and tell us what's going on, and welcome back.
Thank you, Bonnie. I always enjoy being here. So DealView has been scaling. It's growing. We were awarded one of the 25 startups to watch in 26. And that kind of kicked off a slew of stuff for DealView when it comes to helping founders raise smarter and structure their deal room. The AI inside that is Clara, which she's become a lot smarter and sarcastic and all the fun things that founders really need to hear sometimes. And it's interesting to get some of the reviews back I hear about how she kind of roasted their decks or things like that. Safety View is growing. We've got a couple commercial contracts under Safety View with our augmented reality risk mitigation platform. And then the last year has been released 30 days and sold a little over 200 copies in the last 30 days. So everything's moving up and leveling out, as I like to say sometimes.
Well, welcome back. I know you're still working very, very hard, and I had the pleasure of meeting your co-founder, your partner, Chelsea, on one of my shows last year, and it was a privilege and a delight to meet her. So you've got a good partnership there.
Oh, yeah,
Let's go on. Mike Maiolo, I'm so glad you are here. And again, shout out to Sherry. She's watching live somewhere. And hi, Sherry. Mike, I'm putting you on speaker view. Why don't you catch us up? You've had quite an interesting journey, and you're doing something brand new that just launched 48 hours ago. So why don't you tell us about that?
Your timing couldn't be better, as always, Bonnie, of course.
Thank you.
And what do I possibly say to add to the amazing intro that you already gave? But I will say this. I decided to write the book, We Were Rising, because I realized after selling the company that I had the privilege of starting, building, and running for almost 20 years, the chapter that I want to finish on hasn't been written yet. So the book was the starting point. But part of what I needed to do is go back and remember how special that journey was at Rising. I learned that as a leader, all you can do is give people an opportunity, and what becomes of it is 100% based on the commitment those people make and the drive they have to do something special. So looking back on it, I learned a ton about people, how to motivate people, how to surround yourself with people that are a lot smarter than you. That part's not that hard, Bonnie, as you know. But I want to do it again. But I also want the people that helped build Rising to read how much I appreciated the journey with them, the clients, the partners at SAP. It was just an amazing chapter of my life. So the book's doing well. It just launched, but the next chapter of my career is just starting. I joked about your timing, but I've been on the board of a company, a PE-backed firm called Mosaic Consulting Group. They're in the UKG space, supporting UKG as a software platform, much like Rising did SAP. And I'm actually helping them launch an SAP practice, bringing together many of the wonderful people from Rising that wanted another chapter of their careers to go back. It's not a Rising 2.0, but what it is a chance to learn from the good things we did and finish with some really great things. And then you mentioned Kate Maloney. I never thought that I would get married again, but in August I will. So I'm blessed to have Kate in my life and two wonderful kids, Gabe and Anna. Gabe launched his first AI company called Virgil AI last year. He's in college still. I was trying to improve upon my beer chug time when I was in college. I wasn't launching an AI company, but both of them are doing incredible things. So the rest of the chapters will be written watching and being amazed by what those guys do. Bonnie, thanks for having me.
Oh, lovely. And would you please tell people briefly what Kate does? I know she has a very important position.
Yeah, she is funny that I worked for Wipro for a couple years after they bought Rising. She is the executive director of the foundation in the United States that Infosys has and does an awful lot to give back and help teach and train kids around the world how to use AI and things like that.
Thank you. You're going to get her to come on a show with me soon, okay?
Oh, she would love to.
After the
She's a
wedding.
lot more eloquent than her fiance, by the way.
I, I don't think that would be possible. You're doing great. Sherry will
Thanks,
be
Bonnie.
very proud of you. And now the newcomer, I just met you, 22 minutes ago, Adam Greenberg. Delighted to have you. You've got a different type of a journey and a different type of founding story. So I'm putting you on speaker view. Why don't you fill us in with some details? Welcome, Adam.
Thanks very much, Bonnie. And first, I just want to say how inspiring it is to be on a panel with guys like Mike and Tim, who I've always aspired to be like, to that level of success. So it's great to be here. I want to talk a little bit about leaders to give, but it weaves into the story of my business career as well. I've been very fortunate. I've had a great career, and I've served in a number of different roles, from enterprise sales executive into the enterprise executive management space, even with great companies like Rising that Mike led. But I always felt like something was missing for me. And in talking with others, I always felt like something was missing for them too. It wasn't the rewards of a great career. It wasn't the intellectual challenge of trying to solve problems for customers, or trying to dig into to the latest trends in technology. It was something inside, something missing, and it was a sense of purpose. And so Leaders to Give was founded to do just that. It was founded to empower and inspire others to be able to solve some of the problems that we see in the world, and to take hands-on action to be a part of solving those problems themselves rather than expecting others to do it. And that's really what Leaders to Give is. We're a California founded 501(c)(3, and our mission is to give people an opportunity to solve the problems in the communities that they live in, that they visit, that they travel in, by providing an opportunity to do hands-on work in those communities. So that's a bit about Leaders to Give. We provide free healthcare, education, food security, and housing to vulnerable children and vulnerable families in developing communities.
Your heart's in the right place. Very, very interesting. I'm glad that we have a mix of points of view and a mix of missions and a mixture of different types of companies here. That's what makes it a really good panel. So what I'd like to do now is move on to the part of the show where I've asked each of you to, I know you're all busy, but I forced you to find me a movie or a TV or a show quote that was fictional, and you're going to relate it to our topic. So I'm going to start with you, Tim. I've got a little background here. You know, I love my research, and Tim has chosen a quote from Albus Dumbledore, played by Richard Harris. Of course, the film is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, a 2002 fantasy film directed by Chris Columbus, blah, 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 based on the 1998 novel by who else? J.K. Rowling. The sequel to Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone from the year before. They were busy, and the second installment in the Harry Potter film series. Albus is the headmaster of Hogwarts and one of the greatest wizards of the age. I think that's what you would all like to be, the greatest wizard of your age. I just thought about that. This was Richard Harris's final live action film. He passed away shortly before it was released. It was released in the US in November 2022. It grossed $878 million worldwide, the second highest grossing film of 2002, if anybody's interested. Here's the quote Tim has picked. It is not our abilities that show what we are, truly are. It is our choices. Okay, Tim, take a couple minutes and tell us how this relates. Like we couldn't guess, but tell us anyway. Go ahead.
Um, that one hits hard because it's a theme from starting from scratch, right? It's not about salaries and the skills and the things you possess. It's about the choice that keeps you moving forward. Um, like with me, you know, I had surgery and it was a I was out, couldn't work on safety view, so I worked on deal view, but that was a choice. I couldn't stop. I had to push, not just for me, but family and everything else. So, you know, as leaders, as business owners, you know, we have to make choices all the time and do it from a position of what's best for everyone holistically and what keeps us moving. So that one just really resonates. It's that light at the end of the of a dark tunnel that you keep choosing to walk towards and not turn around. So
I have to ask you, your virtual background looks like a tunnel behind you. Did you choose that to go with the quote for the show? Oh, go ahead, flatter me, Tim.
that's actually the cover of the book.
It's
That
beautiful.
is a culvert in California. Um, and it just, to me, it perfectly resembles the chaos. The walls are graffitied. You're in a tunnel. It's scary in a sense, but there's still light at the end of it. And every time you move closer, it gets a little brighter, little brighter. So that was
Very nice, nicely done. And the image is the message. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay, Mike Maiolo, let's go to your quote. It's from Henry Hill, played by Ray Liotta. Goodfellas, 1990. It's a biographical gangster film directed by Scorsese. Well, does it get any better than that? Film adaptation of Nicholas Pileggi's 1985 book Wise Guy. The stars are just glitterati here. De Niro, Liotta, Joe Pesci, Lorraine Bracco, Paul Sorvino. Oh my goodness gracious. Scorsese initially titled the film Wise Guy, and he postponed making it. And then they changed the title to Goodfellas. And let's see, it premiered at the 47th Venice International Film Festival in 1990, and Martin Scorsese was awarded the Silver Lion for Best Director. So here's the quote. This is an interesting one, Mike. You're going to have to unpack this for us. Let me tell you, I don't do a good accent. Let me tell you something. Nobody goes to jail unless they want to, unless they make themselves get caught. They don't have things organized. I think there's a couple of keywords in there you want to seize on. Go ahead, Mike. Tell us how you picked this or why.
Thanks, Bonnie. And you can imagine with a last name like Maiolo, there's a direct connection back to a movie like Goodfellas. And of course, my dad, who is an Italian immigrant, often referenced movies to teach lessons. And there's a lesson in this quote, and it's a little abstract, so humor me for just a second here. But obviously, I just enjoyed the movie, and the cast was just incredible. But if you think about it, when you make the statement, nobody goes to jail unless they want to. Translate that to a more grounded business concept of outcomes, even bad ones like going to jail, are the result of personal choices that you make. And so if you decide to be a criminal, and you decide to be detailed in your planning and organization, and you decide that you're going to take execution to another level, you probably don't get caught. But that's not the lesson I'm trying to teach people, is to be criminals and don't get caught.
Thank you.
But attention to detail, discipline, and being organized are part of the recipe for success, whatever you're trying to do. And getting caught, think about it, frame it this way. It's a failure of execution, not a failure of strategy. So in our worlds, what we need to do, and Tim sounds like he's written about this, is you have to have a good plan, but you have to execute against it really well. And that is how you stay out of jail.
And we could translate, we could do it could be a metaphor of business failure. It could be getting
Bankruptcy.
hung up, bankruptcy, getting hung up and strung up on a business that you can't get off the ground, and having the wrong team and finding out you had the wrong mission and the wrong plan. I think organized was the key word there, and I'm going to stop right now before I get us in trouble. Okay, thank you, Mike. Very, very interesting choice. When I started these shows, and some of you may remember, Mike, you might remember, this show was my spin-off of SAP Game Changers Radio, which I did for 9 years, 48 series, millions of listeners around the world. And when SAP said bye-bye, I said, I'm not going to give up all of my audience, my listeners, and my mantra, my mission to have thought leadership roundtables without any selling. Leave a dollar sign somewhere else, just come and talk about what you know and share your knowledge. And I renamed it Technology Revolution. So there you go. I have no idea why I told you that story. Okay, so, getting organized. Okay, so here we go. Adam Greenberg. Interesting, a classic quote. Gandalf, played by Ian McKellen, The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, 2001, the first installment of the trilogy of epic fantasy films. Gandalf sends a poem called The Riddle of the Strider, with the line I'm going to read, to Frodo, played by Elijah Wood, to confirm the identity of the mysterious stranger who would eventually help them save Middle-earth. The line is also in a song featured in The Rings of Power. And here is the line. By the way, Lord of the Rings is directed by Peter Jackson, based on the novel by Tolkien. We all know that, blah, blah, blah. Okay, here's the line Adam has picked. Not all those who wander are lost. I think the three of you got together and picked quotes that were going to all dovetail beautifully, and you're going to make me say that. I think so. Adam, I'm putting you on speaker view. Would you please tell us how you picked this?
Yeah, for sure. And it was interesting listening to the other quotes, how similar they were, and it wasn't rehearsed. Um, it's a little bit like my own career, that I found that I didn't have an end goal in mind. I didn't start in my career after school and think I want to be a CEO. I was wandering, but I wasn't lost because I was purposefully enjoying every step along the way. So that quote really comes alive to me as well, and that whole story, raising my daughter. I would remember wanting to go on a hike with my daughter and trying to get to a spot. I want to get to the waterfall, but she's, a little girl, and she's going at her own pace. And I had to learn not to focus so much on the destination, but to focus on the journey and to be present and to enjoy the moment. Doesn't mean you're not accomplishing the same thing as when you get to the destination. And that's why that comes to life for me in business and in life.
Very nice. Nicely done. You all picked very classic lines. I think we could write them. Tim, are you still taking openings for graffiti on the wall behind you? I think we could get somebody to scroll these. You didn't know I was going to say that. Scroll these three quotes on the lines there, because they really matter. And thank you, gentlemen, for picking such meaty, such interesting quotes. Very well done. Now we're going to go to the predictions roundtable, and here's what's going to happen. It's a free fall, basically. Adam, don't get scared. I'm going to start with a prediction from Tim. I will read it. I will ask Tim to unpack it, take a couple minutes, and then I'm opening it up around the table, and I'm going to ask Mike and Adam to comment. Now, Tim's a nice guy, and I think he's okay if you disagree with him. However, what we're looking for is your point of view, not, yes, I love it. Thank you, Tim. That was great. What does it mean to you? Does it mean anything to you? No, I don't understand that. I don't identify with that. Or, wow, how did you know? So see if it relates to anything, if it resonates. That's what we're looking for is a true roundtable in a couple minutes each. And then I'll pick one from Mike and we'll do the same one from Adam. And we have a lot of time. You gentlemen are very brief with the words today, which is fine. So we got plenty of time for a lot of predictions. So, Tim, I'm starting with your prediction number one. It's called, this is dramatic, The Death of Urgency Theater. Tim predicts AI will, Adam is saying, AI, I'm watching you. Adam, AI will eliminate manual diligence scrambles, replacing 3 a.m. folder organizing with autonomous auditing that proves deal readiness up front. That's packed with so many keywords, Tim. I think we need a glossary here, if you don't mind my saying so. So why don't you unpack it? I'm putting you back on speaker view, and then I'll open it up to the gallery, and we'll see what the gentlemen have to say. Tim, go.
Yeah. So, I mean, when we were building Safety View, a lot of what I found in my own world and now in other founders, I'm an EIR for the area, is people don't understand where things go, what's going to kill the deals. And AI is allowing us to move at such more faster pace nowadays. It's really how can we get people prepared, whether it's to raise money, get a deal with an enterprise client, something. So being able to utilize AI, some of those algorithms, to not just say, hey, here's the information, but here's how this information relates. This is what it means in business to do this. And these are the things you need to think of. So utilizing AI, not just as a, hey, my life's easy, but to teach at the same time and help businesses get out of that scramble mode. And I think, Bonnie, we were on an episode and you asked me, what does AI mean? AI means I can go shake somebody's hand because I'm not sitting there stuck in a spreadsheet trying to hit every cell, right? I can actually get out, talk to customers, talk with people. And I think AI really pushes that, hey, let's get out of the urgency. Let's have it help us and put those guardrails in. So
Thank you very much. That 3 a.m. folder organizing. I think it was folder diving is probably more like it, if I'm allowed. Mike, why don't you go first, and then Adam comments. Agree, disagree, thoughtful, anything resonate with you, Mike?
Yeah, the piece that really resonated with me, Tim, is the business of AI accomplishing a task, and if it's eliminating urgency or making us more efficient or whatever it is, that allows us to go do other things. So my personal view is the goal isn't to displace people per se. It's to give them the power of time back to go do the things that only people can do well. That shaking hands, breaking bread, listening to what customers have to say as they show you what the problems are. I really like that, Tim.
Thank you.
thanks.
Adam, go.
Well, when you're interacting with somebody, they deserve your full attention. They deserve that you've prepared for the conversation. They've come to you with a real problem that they want you to solve, and they believe you can solve it. That's what gives you the right to be in the room. And my mantra, my whole career and professionally and personally is prepare relentlessly and assume nothing. And that leads to a lot of work because you're trying to predict what the other person is going to think based on what you're saying to them and what you're presenting to them. And so the reason I was, my eyes went wide when Tim said it is because we've all been in the 3 a.m. folders trying to prepare, trying to look at and predict what the other person's going to object to or it's going to resonate with. And so I like it. And I hope, it's not, I don't agree or disagree. I hope it comes true.
Mm-hmm. Very well put.
Yeah.
Tim, anything you want to say back to them?
No, I think they echoed exactly what I was talking about and pulled the signal out of it, and because that's really what that, being able to be efficient and prepared, right? And prepared at once upon a time was hours in folders,
Right.
spreadsheets, PowerPoints, and even if I can get 80% there with AI, now that means I spend 20% of my time digging, and now everything else becomes about the relationships. So.
There you go. It is relationships. Very, very interesting. Thank you, Tim, for that starter. And Adam, I just wanted to reflect on when I read your bio, it talked about giving people back their time. Was that something that resonated with you in terms of one of the missions of one of your organizations?
Absolutely. I mean, when I took the CEO chair at Makeshift, the focus was all about delivering software. And when we drilled into it, and I met with the team, and I met with our customers, and I met with our partners, what I learned was that's not really what it's about. It's about giving people time back. And why do people want time back? It's so they can focus on what really matters. And what really matters is different for everybody. What matters to the business is one thing. What matters to the individual is another. So yes, it resonates strongly.
Really does. Thank you very much, Tim. Good start. Let's go to Mike Maiolo. I'm looking at prediction number one. I will read it. You don't need to find it. Mike says AI founders will drive a surge in best of breed solutions, focus deeply on a single problem, rather than broad, unfocused platforms. As AI funding reaches record levels, founders may pay close attention to differentiation and clarity of purpose. Again, packed with buzzwords, buzz phrase. Please, Mike, would you unpack this for me so I understand and the listeners understand, and then we'll go around the table. Mike, you're up.
Yeah, and thank you, Bonnie. First, I want to say my statement about these best of breed solutions is not to say that enterprise software has a demise coming because of AI. I think the opposite's true. I think that those enterprise systems are the data source of all of the real life stuff that's happening, and it'll be a great connection between the enterprise software platforms and various AI tools. That said, the reason I believe that there'll be a focus on very specific solutions that solve a very specific problem rather than a broad case is that AI, among all the many wonderful things that it can do, will help us build software faster. We can address a problem in market time. You know, one of the problems in the past is by the time you identify a problem and spend years building code to address it, the problem has shifted already. So the new world order will be you focus on a very specific problem. And here's an example. There's some really incredible AI solutions coming out to help entrepreneurs build strategic plans. Think about the what Tim and Adam were talking about in terms of these 3 o'clock in the morning exercises. Writing a strategic plan without a training in how to do so is difficult. Now, with a simple idea that you're trying to present to solve a problem, you have an AI solution that can write a strategic plan for you, and not only write it, but help you determine if it's good enough. Is there enough of a market to really supply a new solution? So I think that's really the point of the commentary, not that enterprise software is going away.
I hope not. I'm a coder from way back. Some of you may not remember. I'm an early woman in tech, and I was coding in COBOL. A lot of people say Cobalt. No, it's COBOL on a Xerox Sigma 6 CP5 mainframe that was in a room the size of a warehouse with the cables under the floor where you needed like a carpet lifter to pull up the tiles on the floor to get to the cables. And it was a very interesting time, and I loved coding, but I guess that's no longer a popular thing to be able to say you do. Anyway, we'll leave that one alone. Let's go around the table. Adam, comments on what Mike shared, and then Tim. Adam?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I used to love watching Star Trek. I just love the stories. And there was a character in Star Trek called Data. And Data was basically an AI robot. And I always thought, imagine having the power to ask Data anything and get an answer instantly. And that's really the beauty and the power of AI. It's kind of what Mike's talking about. It's an agent that knows everything and can give you instant access to the information. You still need to ask the questions though, and you
Mm-hmm.
still need to personalize the answers in order to apply them to the outcome you're trying to achieve. So I think Mike's right on the money, no surprise.
And you need to train it.
You
You
need to
need to
train it.
you need to give it the knowledge to give you back the data that you think you want, how and when and where you want it. I think there's
Agreed.
a lot of parts to that loop. Tim, talk to us. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that was a good point, Bonnie. You have to train it The- and understand what AI is actually doing behind the scenes, or at least have a high level of it. Deal View was born from my frustration. So I built a cognitive system, which goes to what Mike was talking about. How can we provide founders that information, the strategy, the plan, the market analysis, all these things? So that's what we put into Deal View to help founders structure that. When we talk about, hey, coding and AI coding, 100%, but I think that goes back to understand, or have somebody as a subject matter understand what it's coding. I talk to founders all the time that are like, oh, I built this application, and you can go in fairly quickly and find there's issues in the software, and hey, don't release this yet. Understand you can push faster, and AI is going to be able to code for you, but you still need that human in the loop, the subject matter of, hey, here is the issues, or here is, to protect them and everybody else. So,
Tim, this is a good time for you to tell us briefly what Deal View is, please. Go ahead.
Deal View is a cognitive substrate I developed that has over 1,300 investors, mentors, advisors, memories loaded at its core. It dreams at night. It goes through and deletes things and adds things. It's a full cognitive system for one purpose: to help founders raise capital, structure their data rooms. We also have an investor side of it. So if we can prepare the founders before they send their data room out, I've freed up the investor side of it to where they can analyze the deal faster. The founder's ready, and we provide AI tools for the investor to look for red flags, risks, which, as long as the founders are following that and getting ready, there shouldn't be a problem. They should have caught it before they ever made it to investor. Free up the investor times, because they're getting swamped with all the applications and things. So if I can reduce their analysts to focus more on that signal, like who is ready, we can get founders funded.
Good.
On their ideas.
That goes back to the sanity. I have to tell you all how much fun it was writing 2,000 lines of code over the weekend by hand, coming in on Monday, key punching it, and having it in production at 1 o'clock on Monday afternoon. That's how I was writing code. That's how I dove deep into top-down COBOL programming for major reports for the Community College Division of the state of Oregon. That's what I did. And it was a blast. It was jump up and say, well, like the Toyota commercial, wow, it was just an elevating experience. So the question is, can AI have as much fun as I did when I was writing code? I still think it's great. And people say there's no creativity in that of course there is. Listen, you all started out with a blank page, right, Tim? Right, Mike? Right, Adam? With a blank slate, a tabula rasa, if you will. They say that's how our brains start, although I'm not sure. And and you had something, you decided there was a goal, there was a mission, there was an endpoint you wanted. You weren't sure what it was, how to get there, what it was going to look like when you got there, and how you're going to change it. But so programming was just somebody saying, I need a report that does this, this, and this. Take me there. That was it. My code didn't look like anybody else's. My labels, my functions, everything, my organization, my branches. But that was creativity. So I have a show on Monday called The Creativity Show. Read my lips. I think you're all very creative people. And you may not realize that, but you are my new breed of creatives. See, on your business card, you put on Bonnie D's futurist, and I'm a Bonnie D's creative. And Mike is also, I'm not Mike, I'm sorry, Tim is also one of my cool dudes. I have to say that. Mike and Adam will get you later. Okay, let's move on here before I pontificate too much. Adam, I am going to, did we get everybody on that one on the round? Okay, yes. Let's go to Adam. I've picked your statement number 2, prediction number 2. I like this one. You say, and we're going to talk about nonprofits. AI agents will shift nonprofits from reactive to proactive execution. Instead of reviewing reports after the fact, AI will predict donation slowdowns before they happen, explain why, and recommend or even take corrective action in real time. That is a powerful prediction. Adam, putting you back on speaker view, tell us a little more, please.
Well, it comes from experience. It comes from wanting to give people an opportunity to contribute in ways that matter to them. And it also comes from a belief that people are inherently good and want to do good. And so it also goes to training the agents so that they understand the outcome you're trying to achieve. We see in Leaders to Give all sorts of, peaks and valleys of giving. And we've learned over time that they happen as a result sometimes of world events. You'll see something in the news, it'll touch you, and it'll cause you to reach out and want to give generously to support a cause that's close to you. And so I believe that instead of us reviewing these things after the fact as humans, when we meet on a monthly board meeting and why was there a peak? Why was there a valley? We believe that the AI agents, if they're trained properly, will be able to give us real-time insight to say, hey, now's the time to do some outreach. These are the things that have mattered to people the most in the past, and even proactively take that outreach for us.
Can we push that one out and make it not just donors, fundraisers, contributors to investors so that Tim and Mike can talk about it? Is that okay? Mike, you're nodding. Anything about being proactive and understanding where the investors are or are not coming?
There's really two things that just popped into my head, and if I could
Mhm.
go back to something Adam was just pointing
Yeah,
out,
please.
it's not only the case that we react to world events and things like that, but we get so many proposals that if those were filtered with a real understanding of what our passion is and what we've donated towards before
Hmm.
and what we're likely to donate towards in the future, the lives of the people raising money would be made easier, and also the lives of the people making the donations would be easier because you can filter out from the thousands of things out there to the ones that are targeted for what you care about.
What you care about. Tim, thoughts about predicting investments and what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think what Adam was saying could actually go a little bit further. I mean, it's how do we utilize the AI to look at those peaks and valleys, but synthesize that information to bring it back to business, to people, right? Because as people, we're just curious sometimes, and sometimes it's just in personal lives, like, hey, who's doing this or who's doing that? If we can take what a business is doing, what's happening, and synthesize that down to what somebody cares about. And I think that's where the efficiencies in AI really come in, is being able to take a lot of unstructured data and structure and bringing it back in and providing that back to business people, nonprofits, and giving, you know, helping them, helping everybody really.
And AI excels in pattern recognition, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Isn't that one of the
it
strengths?
does.
So, where have we seen this before? Why might we see it again? Adam, any thoughts to wrap that one up? Because I'm going to move on. Go ahead.
Well, I want to thank you for using the word investors,
You're welcome.
because whether you're donating to a cause that's meaningful to you, or whether you're investing in a business, you're still investing in an outcome that's meaningful to you. And I think donors are investing in outcomes that matter to them just as much as a business.
Very well put. I'm glad we worked that out between us. Yes, you're very welcome. Okay, Tim, I'm picking your prediction number two. We have time for a couple more. And you say productizing the bruises. Okay, everybody get a medicated Band-Aid out. Investors, I'm sorry, Tim says entrepreneurs will use AI to turn internal survival tools and business byproducts, air quotes, into secondary revenue engines. This sounds very promising and very efficient and very hopeful. Tim, why don't you unpack it for us and then we'll see what the others have to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you look at what I ended up doing is Safety View, I was raising money for it. I didn't have the money, I didn't have the things to raise money. And DealView was born out of that. It was just a tool for me. But as I start making internal tools and SOPs and different things, there's signal that comes out of all that noise where AI can focus in on, and hey, we can generate this. So DealView I made for myself. I was in some founder groups, and everybody was like, hey, what's a data room? Or that a lot of people didn't know. And I'm sitting here like, well, hey, check this out. I made this for me. Would you want it? And then a couple hundred people were like, oh, I want it. So I took a product I was building to an internal tool that I needed to then find out there's all these people out there that need that same thing. So now we can actually turn that into monetization, and help the business all around. So
I like the way you call it bruises. Breadcrumbs, maybe, too.
breadcrumbs,
Dust,
the dots.
the dots, right, that didn't get connected the first time around, but where
Uh-huh.
are they going? Adam, Mike, comments on this? It's good. What do you think? Mike, you look like you want to talk.
Yeah, what I like about what he was saying is, you're trying to solve one problem, you run into an issue, and it creates a need for another tool that you solve. The best way to bring something to market that has value is to make sure there's a real problem for it to solve. What better way than to solve your own problem? The best market research in the world is to look into your office and say, I have a problem. There's at least one potential client there. So I think that's pretty cool, Tim. And I need to learn what deal view is.
We'll sync up. We can go
Yeah,
through
me too. Me too.
it.
Because I'm reflecting on those problems myself. So if there's a solution, I'd love to learn more about it. No, I think it's very very good observation, and we see it at Leaders to Give, where we're trying to solve one problem for a particular issue, and it connects to one of our partners in the ecosystem who have the same need. So we're able to transpose that solution to others. We see it at Makeshift as well. Just to bring it back to tech for a moment,
Hmm.
where during COVID we were seeing that the spikes, what we're in a scheduling tool, time and attendance tool, Makeshift is what Makeshift is. Seeing spikes in the number of call outs, the number of shifts that are being dropped in exchange. It's during COVID, and the customer is probably wondering why that is. We're wondering why that is, and we're using AI to tell us why that is, and then we're providing that same capability to all of our other customers, whether they're in hospitality or retail or healthcare. It's the same issue. So, yeah, very,
Thank
very
you.
interesting stuff.
Thank you for tying it up. That's why we do the roundtable. We're thinking outside of our own box and see what everybody else has to say. Mike, I'm going to squeeze in one more prediction briefly, and let's see if we can cover this. We've got about 6 minutes left. So, number 4, Mike says AI founders will need to rethink value creation as AGI replaces tasks. Business built solely on easily replicable AI-driven models risk becoming disposable. Enduring founder-led companies will focus on trust relationships, there's that word again, and long-term client value, not just automation. Very well said. Mike, unpack 2 minutes and then we'll quickly see what Adam and Tim have to say.
Yeah, Bonnie, I think the most important theme and what I was trying to say here is back to when we started and we were talking about how AI frees up time to repurpose our time. And this is part of the point here is automation is essential. And 3 years from now, maybe not even that far off in the future, things that we used to do in a manual way with employees, we won't even remember that we used to do it that way. You think about testing code. You were talking about your own experiences before. The manual effort of writing and testing code is bonkers. And now you can use automation and do incredible things, but you still have to point the solution in the right direction. And what I mean is, companies that succeed in the future will still, with elite AI, be based on the same fundamental principles of trust, building relationships, and solving client challenges. Because all the AI in the world won't make you any different than anyone else. It's going to level the playing field in certain ways. So I think that founders will have an opportunity to, and will have to really figure out how to get closer to the client, build those trusted relationships, make sure that their employees are passionate about solving those problems, and then use AI to execute and be able to automate the things you can automate, but really handshake the things you need to handshake. I think the best new companies 5 years from now will be tech enabled, but they'll be foundationally about having elite employees with a passion for solving client problems.
I think you just gave us a primer or a primer on Startup 101. And you know what? Instead of having Adam and Tim comment back, since we only have about 4 minutes left, I'm going to take that as your statement, Mike, to founders, because in my opening, I said maybe somebody watching or listening will be inspired by any or all of you to become a founder on their own. So I'm going to go to you, Tim. Any message for new founders, for people who haven't even thought of something they might want to found? I think that's the verb to use. 1.5 minutes for you, and then Adam, and then we'll wrap up, and I have some great music we're going to dance to. Go ahead, Tim. What do you think?
I think everything everybody has said on this is needs to resonate with how you utilize tools and from the personal relationships. Once upon a time, it was all about relationships. Then technology came in, and it was all data. We're shifting that back to relationships. And I think founders need to realize you need to have the handshakes. You need to build the relationships. You can solve a problem, and we always tell people, hey, do your discovery, right? That is so you can identify that problem. Find that problem, have those conversations, and make sure you're doing it for those people. Some founders get in a trap. Oh, this is a cool idea. So, do it with purpose, do it with identifying the problem, and hold on for the ride.
And would you say embrace AGI, embrace AI along the way?
I think embracing AI, you have to now.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Thank you. Adam, 2 minutes, go.
Well, I have the privilege of doing some leadership teaching as a guest speaker at Simon Fraser University BD School of Business. I'm also a father of a daughter who's in high school and looking at university and looking at her career down the road. And AI is making a lot of people very, very nervous. My message to all of them is that people, and it's exactly what Mike and Tim are saying, people are becoming more important, not less important. The interactions we have with people, the trust we place in people, the connection we make with people is becoming more valuable, not less. So embrace AI as a tool to do all the things that these great leaders have said that it can do. But be your authentic self, go out into the world and prosper.
And be a human being. I will tell the three of you, there was nothing more thrilling than having an ab-end on a program and going in and looking at this thick of green bar paper and going into the core dump and finding the address of the instruction that bombed. Nothing more exciting than going into, it was hexadecimal, and knowing how to read that code and find exactly that instruction and that piece of data that effed it up, and finding what did somebody do wrong? Was it me or the data? Those were very exciting days. And I'll tell you that it was, the brain was just working. It was creativity. It was a challenge. It was exciting. It was a thrilling thing to do. And I never knew that I would love it that much, but I did, just saying that. So, and very quickly before we end, I want to say the word objection came up. I think, Adam, finding objections. And I will tell you, I did stand-up comedy years ago. And one of the cardinal rules, not just watch the green light and say, that's my time. No, you're not supposed to say that. What's that?
Not shocked that you did stand-up comedy.
No, I know you're not. No, I just try to be funny sitting down. But one of the cardinal rules is if you have something that the audience will object to, say it at the beginning. When you walk on stage, yeah, that nose has 2 zip codes. I'm coming and go. I mean, not me, but find something. Yeah, I know. I didn't have it done this week. Find something that they might object to and address it first so you don't let them get distracted from your message. Isn't that true in business, Tim? Find the objection, address it, deal with it. Don't be surprised. Don't be knocked off your boat or whatever you're standing on, and get it out of the way. So Adam, when you said that, it just triggered that. Gentlemen, it has been delightful. Can you all stay for a couple minutes after we're off the air? I have a couple questions to ask you. Give me about 3 minutes. Okay, and I want to say thank you to Jordan Henson, who is our engineer getting us on the Voice America Media Business Channel today, and a shout out to Sherry Ann Meyer, who I think has been watching us, and she probably is. There's one number on the live stream there. It's got to be Sherry. There we go. I'm putting on the music from my new show, which is called Say What? Good News, and I'd love for you to dance out. Let's go. Come on, move. Oh, there you go.
Good news.
Every weekday, 4.5 minutes. Good news. And I created the music in AI, so there. Suno. Morning coffee in my cup. Decaf, please. I don't need the extra caffeine, Adam. You know that. Same old drama. Same old feed. Flip that dial. That's what I need. Turn it up. Let those bad vibes fade. Get rid of those headlines. Hit play. Good news. We talk it out. Let's lift that mood, founders. Good people doing what they do. Feel that smile coming through. Wave goodbye.